Midnight Drearies.
It was a dark and stormy night in the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario, the beloved hero of the Pleurotoid realm, had been out on a routine adventure to collect power-ups and stomp on Koopa. As he was returning to his home in the Mushroom Village, he stumbled upon a strange-looking mushroom, one he had never seen before. Without thinking, he picked it up and took a bite, because that's just what Mario does. It tasted weird, but he figured it was just a bad mushroom and didn't think much of it. Little did he know, that one bite would change everything. As the night wore on, Mario began to feel strange. He couldn't quite put his finger on it, but something was off. Everything and everyone started to take on a more sinister nature. The more he saw, the more he became convinced that something was wrong. This is somehow Bowser's doing, I know it, Mario thought to himself. He put that bad mushroom there knowing I couldn't resist. He didn't know what had come over him, but he couldn't stop himself from destroying everything in sight. His once beloved friends and neighbors fled from him in terror, and he was left alone in a village that was now in ruins. As he wandered the kingdom, he became more and more erratic. He attacked anyone who crossed his path, and his once happy home was now a place of terror and destruction. The Goombas never stood a chance as Mario jumped and jibed and pounced and pounded. The mushroom people would all die. A chain chomp came barking up at Mario, so he smacked it on the nose and it went yapping away. "Chompy meant you no harm," said a voice from behind him. He turned and saw Luigi standing there. "That wasn't very nice." "Who said I was nice?" Mario shouted as he attacked his only brother. He had gained strength and stamina from the poisonous mushroom. Luigi was never a match for Mario before, and now it was even worse. Mario pummeled his plumber brother into unconsciousness. But before he could strike the final blow, he was struck in the back of the head and fell to one knee. A long crooked laugh came from the surprised foe. It was Waluigi. "So you're all teaming up against me, huh?" "Well, that's the last cheap shot you'll ever get," Mario said as he proceeded to punish the purple perpetrator. Within moments, Mario had beaten Waluigi to death. He stepped back over to his brother. "I'll give you this one last life," Mario said, and turned and walked away. But his anger had not subsided. Oh no, this was only the beginning of his rampage. He felt more alive than ever, and finally getting rid of all the troublesome trash that had been littering the land only served to drive him on. By now, news had spread all across the Mushroom Kingdom of Mario's madness. And they were all coming out to stop him. Koopa paratroopers had been sent out to worry him while the Bill boys raced through the air towards the rear of the squadron. They didn't call him Jumpman for nothing. Mario leaped and bounced back and forth, dodging the feathered fighters and waiting for the right moment to turn the tables. When Bullet Bill and Bonsai Bill caught up, they tried blasting Mario to smithereens. But he jump-kicked both of them and sent them hurling towards the Koopa paratroopers, where they collided with and killed the flying turtles and knocked themselves out, spiraling hard into the ground. Biker Wario came chugging along on his bad motor scooter. "I've been waiting for this," Mario said. Wario got off the bike. "You killed my brother," he said. "Now I'm going to kill you." The two antagonists went round and round. Mario couldn't gain any ground on the tubby tank. So he kept pushing himself harder and harder, letting the mushroom madness consume him like he had consumed it. This gave him the strength to defeat his evil clone Wario. Then, just to be sure that Wario was never a problem again, Mario jumped in the air and did a ground pound on Wario's head, crushing his skull like a walnut and liquefying his brains, which oozed out of his shattered eye sockets. Nothing to worry about anymore. Mario made a bad pun at the murder. Mario stood on top of a warp pipe and peed down into the darkness. This infuriated the piranha plant that was hiding in the bottom, and it emerged from its metal burrow and tried to bite Mario's wiener off. But he was ready for it. He kicked its bulbous mouth away from him, then grabbed it and snapped its stem, then discarded it on the outside of the pipe. Mario then hopped down through the warp pipe that led him to Peach's castle. He punched Toad in the gut and proceeded towards the royal chamber. Peach was sitting there on her throne. "I knew you'd come here," she said. She was called Princess Peach because she had a huge ass shaped like a peach. Mario thought she had sat on it long enough. "I'm taking the throne, the crown, and the whole fucking kingdom," he said. Out of nowhere, a large barrel smashed into Mario, quickly followed by a flaming oil throne. It was Donkey Kong, Mario's oldest foe. Back before he had even made a name for himself, just a lowly plumber, trying to make his way in the world. Then that big rape monkey kidnapped his girlfriend Pauline and had his way with her. Though Mario had managed to save her, their relationship was never the same. Her survivor trauma was too much for her and she left him. Mario cracked his knuckles and said, "I'm going to enjoy this. Every last bloody second." He took a mushroom out of his torn and tattered overalls and popped it in his mouth. "Let's go," he exclaimed as he ran towards Donkey Kong and began growing bigger from the mushroom. Round and round the titans tussled, neither able to get the upper hand. It felt like hours as the simian soldier pulled his classic move over and over of running away, then climbing something high and throwing things down at Mario. Eventually, Mario was able to catch up to the gorilla grinder and grabbed him by the fur, straining to lift the surprised simian and then body slamming him to the cold marble floor. The tide had turned. This was Mario's moment. He began beating the butt bongos out of Donkey Kong. But just winning wasn't enough for Mario. He choked the life out of the rape ape, leaving his crushing hands on Kong's throat for at least a minute. Even knowing he was a real gone gorilla, Mario couldn't pry his fingers away. Hate and vengeance. Hate and vengeance. Hate and vengeance. And justice for Pauline. Mario rolled away just in time, seeing Peach from the corner of his eye. She had swung her royal sword at him, and it would have decapitated him if he hadn't noticed her. He jumped over her head and landed behind her, wrapping his enlarged arms around her and giving her a bear hug. He squeezed and shook her until she dropped the sword. He then threw her to the hard stone floor and kicked the sword away from her grasp. He took the crown from her head and asked, "How do I look?" "King Mario." Peach began to get up and said, "More like King Fool." She slapped the crown off of Mario's head and took a fighting stance, ready for the Italian ogre. "I won't let you destroy the Mushroom Kingdom or hurt any more of my subjects. I'll have your head, one way or another." But he was too powerful. Mario grabbed Peach by the back of her head and slammed her face first into the marble tile floor. "You will bow to me," he said, smashing her down again and again with each word. He held her up and slapped her several times, but her spirit was gone to the ghost dimension. He dropped her lifeless body and went to find Bowser. But along the way he was attacked by suicide bombers. They were just a distraction. The Shy Guy cult had sent them as a first wave so that the real enemy could ambush Mario. Before he knew what was going on, he had been sucked up into the gullet of Kirby, the pink Lovecraftian void blob. Mario's physical might was no use as he tried to punch his way out. Kirby's gelatinous form simply absorbed the blows. Mario heard a muffled giggle. "That tickles." Mario took out a fire flower and consumed it. "All right then," he said, "let's see how this feels." And he proceeded to burn Kirby alive from the inside out. "Ick, fried pink jello," Mario said. "I may never get that smell out of my nose." Another warp pipe later and Mario was at Bowser's castle. The traps and pitfalls were no challenge. A number of Hammer brothers tried to stop him, but they were no match for his fireballs. Soon enough he reached Bowser's inner chamber. "So there you are, Pipsqueak," Bowser said. "What's gotten into you? You must have lost your goddamned mind." "Oh, you know what's gotten into me. It was that poison mushroom you planted outside the mushroom village. And now you're gonna pay, you're all gonna pay. I don't know what you're talking about. But I'm more than happy to squish you like a little bug. And with that, Bowser transformed into a giant ankylosaurus version of himself. Mario dodged the spiked clubtail as it smashed about. Bowser's shell was too thick and his fireballs could not penetrate it. So he bounced from wall to wall trying to think of a way to defeat the Koopa King. He finally figured it out. Mario began withdrawing from the inner chamber. Bowser laughed, "Where are you going, coward?" and gave chase. But Mario was luring Bowser through the underground passage and across the bridge. The bridge over the lake of lava which was below. Mario jump-kicked Bowser in the face and then bounced away. Then he shot several fireballs at the bridge. Then he jump-kicked Bowser again and again, repeating the kick-fireball-kick pattern until the bridge was too weak to hold Bowser's weight. Mario jumped to safety just in time as the big turtle toppled into the lava lake, instantly melting to death. There was a rumbling and rocks started falling from the cavern ceiling above. Had Bowser's death triggered one last trap? Was the entire castle collapsing down upon him? There was another tremor and more falling rocks. Then another and another. Suddenly, the cavern roof caved in. And down fell a thwomp. It landed next to Mario, barely missing him. And out of the hole left behind came pouring down a horde of dry bones, the animated skeletons of dead Koopa. Mario slowly backed into the inner chamber, shooting fireballs and jump-kicking the undead turtleman. That's when King Boo came floating in. Bowser's castle began warping and twisting and everything was covered in a dull gray light that was everywhere but seemed to come from nowhere. King Boo changed from an incorporeal state to some kind of lich. "I have taken on a physical form so that it will be a fair fight. But since I have merged this world with the ghost dimension, you cannot kill me." He laughed and removed his crown. "Come on, Mario. Let's go." This will be easy, Mario thought. He had bested Boo before, he could do it again. Mario used his large size to advance on Boo and push him back. Even though he had no muscles, King Boo was supernaturally strong and held Mario at bay. The pleurotoid plumber launched a fireball at the ghastly Royale. But Boo just stood there and laughed. The fire did nothing to him. Mario figured that throwing him into the lava lake wouldn't work then either. Mario tried to jump kick King Boo. Though it connected, it didn't seem to do any damage. Think, Mario. Think. Suddenly, there was an echoing roar from behind him and some tentacle-like thing had constricted around Mario. His arms were pinned and he could not shoot any fireballs. King Boo said, "Surprise." Mario was lifted into the air and turned around and upside down. It was Yoshi. That dirty dino had evolved from an adolescent into a full-grown T-Rex like some kind of putrid Pokemon. And riding on his back was a zombie Princess Peach. Or more accurately, she was some type of wraith or shade, able to come back since King Boo had merged Bowser's castle with the ghost dimension. Peach pulled out a weird weapon she borrowed from Simon Belmont, that vampire hunter guy. She said, "Mario, the next time you kill me, make sure I stay dead," and used the blade and chain device to cut off the mushroom madman's head. With the help of King Boo, Princess Peach had saved her mushroom fiefdom. The pummeling plumber's reign of terror was over. Mario was dead.